Welcome to Barampur University's special broadcasting series. I am Dr. Jayant Pandar, Associate Professor of Department of Journalism and Mass Communication. Today we have the privilege of interviewing one of India's brightest mind, political scientist and notable scholar, Professor Manoranjan Mahanti. A distinguished professor with a remarkable career in political science, Professor Mahanti's work has spanned across various fields like comparative politics, Chinese politics, and the political economy of India and China. He is known for his deep research on the Chinese Revolution, Maoist movement in India, and people's rights, and has made invaluable contribution to the understanding of global transformation in the 21st century. As an active peace and human rights advocate, Professor Mahanti has worked tirelessly to promote democratic rights and social justice. Welcome, sir, to this special podcasting series. It is an honor to have you with us today. My words might fail to define you and your long academic journey. I feel humbled and we are lucky enough to have you on our campus today. We take this opportunity to understand your thoughts on contemporary politics and your perspective on global and social development, human rights and sustainability. Sir, I would like to start this interview with a very personal question, that what inspired you to pursue political science and social development?
Well, first of all, thank you for your very kind words. I can only say that I have been a lifelong student of politics and social transformation. I was attracted to political science because that was the one subject which was attracting a lot of students of my kind. And then slowly I discovered that no matter what you study, how to transform society and change power structure to serve better cause, that is crucial to all knowledge. So politics is at the heart of every field of study and every aspect of transformation. That is why I'm glad I studied politics.
Sir, you have had a distinguished career from teaching at the University of Delhi to your current role as a professor at the Council of Social Development. How has your experience shaped your perspective on global transformation?
It has been a very enjoyable journey, going from Ranapur to Revansha College, Cuttack, to Ramjas College, Delhi University, then teaching in Delhi College, which is now called Zakir Hussain College, then going to Berkeley. And then coming back to teach in Delhi University, and then studying comparative politics, focusing on India, China, but also Asia as a whole, and then taking interest in third world studies. The reason why I wanted to study third world affairs, was that all our knowledge, political thought, history, economics, everything was Western, particularly when we were students. And I said that, look, we must study non-Western history, non-Western politics. And so this colonial frame, which gave Europe as the source of knowledge and theory, that I realized very, very early. And that's why I made it a point to study Asia, Africa, Latin America. We started the center to de-Europeanize and re-universalize, genuinely universalize knowledge, so that knowledge of all continents, not just Europe and the United States, knowledge of all countries should have place in framing theory and our general understanding of things.
That's really truly inspiring your journey. Sir, one thing we would like to know that you have worked on China's transformation, which highlights the success and challenges of its reforms. Can you please elaborate on what you refer as a success trap in your 2018 book China's Transformation, the Success Story and Success Trap. What
Yes.
exactly does it mean?
In fact, this is the most important question I have dealt with during my last 40 years. Because I found that both China and India started with the goal of achieving the dreams of our freedom struggle. How to achieve prosperity as well as equality, reduce exploitation and domination, reduce class domination, caste domination, patriarchy, regional domination, and so on. And of course, colonial domination has to be fought. So, and that was the goal in early decades of India's independence and also early decades of China, after China's revolution succeeded in setting up the People's Republic of China. Because my PhD was on Chinese Revolution and its impact on Indian revolution. Now, after 2 decades, particularly under the Mao period, there was a turbulence, the Cultural Revolution, and then came the Deng Xiaoping leadership, which declared that China must modernize and develop and catch up with the West. And, he combined state leadership with private enterprise, and Communist Party orientation has to be given to the production process. So Communist Party leadership will stay, and actually that era of reforms worked, and China became world's second largest economy in 2010, and having something like 10% plus annual growth rate in economy for about a decade, and so on. But then, after the death of Deng Xiaoping, but even when he was alive, he died in 1997. When he was alive, some problems began to show. What are those problems? Particularly 3. Inequalities were growing. Some people became very rich. Some areas, particularly eastern coastal areas of China, they became very rich. And many others became, stagnant or, not very poor, but little better than crossing poverty. Yes, poverty was considerably reduced, but inequality grew. Second, environmental pollution was terrible. In the 2000s, early 2000s, Beijing, now Delhi has the same situation. Beijing would be closed because of pollution. Schools, offices will be closed. And the place that I studied, Wuxi, the Wuxi Lake, the Taigu Lake, would have green water full of algae, unusable and so on. So pollution. Second. The third is that a very false sense of growth and nationalism and big power status, rather than believing in socialism, equality. Therefore, it was success. Economic growth was very steady. Even now, economic growth is going on, not in the same scale, but moderate growth rate. So, and China's influence in the world is also good. And infrastructure is very developed in some sectors in science and technology, particularly in AI. They are number 1 and so on. But inequalities and a new hegemonic class dominating, everyday inconvenience in livelihood, and environmental pollution. Even though they are conscious of all these problems, they are in a trap. They don't know. They don't want to give up their growth rate, becoming developed and successful as a big world economy. And they are trying to tackle these problems in such ways they are not successful. So they are in a trap. So I hope they can see that 2 kinds of globalization are going on. One is capitalist, authoritarian, technocratic, managerial globalization, which is led by the United States and also now by China. and by the tech companies, the Google, Meta, all those companies, Microsoft and so on. That is one kind of globalization. The other is the global solidarity movement in World Social Forum, in Bandung Network, in South-South Forum. So the Global South has a very important role to play. But in Global South, you have two trends. One, that element in the South, Indian leadership, Chinese leadership, Argentina leadership, even Brazil leadership, they are all almost following the G7 industrial nations agenda, neoliberal agenda. So you need a new South movement. New South, that means those who continue the decolonization process. Remember what Gandhi and other stalwarts, Mao Zedong and other stalwarts, and Nelson Mandela and others. What was their vision of building a society after colonial regimes are over? You see, so for that, there is a new solidarity, the Bandung Network solidarity, to build a egalitarian world, reform the United Nations. Today, the United Nations is not able to help bring peace either in Ukraine or in Palestine, in Gaza. So to make United Nations really a powerful democratic.
Moving from China, Professor Mahanti, you have involved in human rights activism, being part of organizations such as People's Union for Democratic Rights and Pakistan India People's Forum for Peace and Democracy. What do you see as the most pressing human rights issues in South Asia today?
The most pressing human rights issue in South Asia today is denial of civil liberty as well as democratic rights, meaning for livelihood and livelihood related natural resources, common people, especially Adivasis, are indigenous people everywhere, particularly in the third world. They are struggling, but they are being subjected to severe repression. Common civil liberties are being violated in their case, and they are being killed in encounters. They are being suppressed. Those areas are being combed and vacated to make those areas available for big corporations to have mining and other projects. So here you have denial of civil liberties to struggling people for their livelihood. And right to livelihood is a basic democratic right. Right to, basic minimum requirements to live a dignified human life. For that they are struggling. So the right to struggle for livelihood rights, I think that is the human right for which in South Asia, in all the countries of South Asia, there are struggles going on, and that is why Pakistan India People's Forum, which is for peace and human rights of both India and Pakistan people, we find peace and human rights are integral. That is why in democracy we have to focus on peace and human rights.
Sir, you have written about people's movement in India, especially focusing on Odisha. How do you see the current state of people's right and social movement in this region, particularly in the context of globalization?
In Odisha, I just saw while coming to Berhampur, Tata Steel Plant, big board. I remember when Biju Patnaik was the chief minister, there was the movement against the Tata Steel Plant. And that succeeded, and Biju Patnaik was persuaded, he accepted, didn't pursue for the second steel plant. Today, not only second, third, so many steel plants are now on. The latest being in the chief minister's constituency. He thinks that will be a great achievement, another steel plant in Keonjhar. This mining-based industry is the bane of our time. we have to, and that is why indigenous people everywhere are fighting against such industrialization, such mining, because they are anti-environment, they are leading to climate crisis. Common people, especially the Adivasis, are becoming climate refugees. We have produced a report on displacement in Odisha. Lokashakti Abhijan has produced. And, our main recommendation is, please, whatever exists, whatever steel plants exist, let us use them and use that steel to have other processing industries here, steel-based products here. We don't have even a cycle factory in Odisha, let alone a car factory or a machine tool factory. So let there be use of steel in those things in Odisha. Let agriculture, light industries which give employment, that flourish. Therefore, in this region, I'm very disappointed that our movements have not been able to impact policy. They are being suppressed left and right very, very severely. And today, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, and Jharkhand, people's movements are being subjected to severe repression. And therefore, we have a new task to really struggle for people's rights. And all the governments of the world today say that they believe in human rights, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, but they really do not respect the basic rights of the struggling people. Human rights is not something abstract. What the struggling people are fighting for, you have to respect that.
Second wife, probably the lot of academic institutions and international platform collaborate more effectively to address the global challenges like migration, poverty, and inequalities. As highlighted in your recent works, how can academic institutions play a bigger role in this context?
Yes, in two ways. Number one, in the disciplines, they must have these problems in every discipline. See, migration is an interdisciplinary program issue. You see, in economics, sociology, politics, anthropology, literature, and science departments, they should see why people are losing jobs in their own area and are forced to have migration. In Odisha, the Dadan worker, Dadan labor, Dadan Shramik is a big issue. And we have been talking about it, studying it for last 5 decades, but we haven't made any difference. That still continues, and during the COVID, it was visible vividly. Now, therefore, one is to have these problems: poverty, migration, environmental degradation, climate crisis, and psychological crisis. The alienation in China, that is a big problem now. Alienation is a big problem, one of the trap issues. So, this is to reorganize knowledge systems, all disciplines, to study this. But second, and this is the most important thing, university must not be an isolated place. Students and teachers must integrate with society. They must have, it's not just field work, just interacting and working together with farmers, Adivasis in the jungles, with the carpenters, with the, with various kinds of factory workers, mining workers. They should have practical experiences in the field. So, actual life and campus life must be one. So, reorganized knowledge system, because these disciplines are European origin. From medieval and early industrial revolution time, these disciplines were organized and we have borrowed them. Okay, so we have to reorganize these disciplines. Second, this divide between school and society, university and society must end. University must be in the society. Society is the biggest university. So this must be realized.
As you rightly said, that it's a time to connect with college to village and campus to community. Professor Manti, you have contributed immensely to the academic community through your research, writings, and activisms. Looking back at your career, what would you consider your most fulfilling achievements?
Well, I have moments when I feel happy. I have moments when I'm very depressed. My happiest moment is when I see a student of mine or a student's student. I've seen my third generation, fourth generation student reflecting some of the ideas that we discussed in the class or in some writing.
The legacy, whatever you
years
set
ago.
for them. The legacy, what you set for them.
Well, so that is my happiest moment. And some of the institutions in which we were, in the founding process when they grow. But my, very depressing moments also are when I see something that I was part of building, has totally transformed. I can't recognize it. In Delhi University, in my department, where I was part of a big change, which triggered transformation of political science all over the country. Now I find a very different kind of political science. Knowledge serving rulers rather than people. That is a very depressing. Intellectual activity must be a people's activity. So, Buddhijibi, Samajibi, I don't believe in that. Every human being is a Samajana. So, for example, the manual worker is not really a manual worker. He or she uses his brain very much. He or she has things that everybody else, even the learned PhD, the lit person should learn from the whom he or she considers an ordinary worker. So, class society, caste society have created gradations of labor and produced degraded concepts of labor. Untouchability is one of them. Okay, so we must consider knowledge activity as a labor activity, a creative activity. Every human being is involved in creative activity. All labor is creative, and they must be valued. And so that is the source of equality. But class and caste society have created concepts of labor which are sources of inequality and exploitation and domination. That has to change. So I have very fulfilling moments. I have also depressing moments. But on the whole, I'm an optimistic person. I do see a brighter future for our people and for India and the world and for Odisha definitely.
Professor Mahanti, my last question is, as an influential scholar, what advice do you have for young scholars, research scholars particularly, who are entering in the field of political science and social development today?
I'm not an influential scholar. I'm just as I said, a lifelong student who has been trying to say something to my friends and students. Not a message. I'm not a sage to give messages. I want to share just a thought. I have learned a lot from my students in the class and throughout my life. So, and society. As I said, university must learn from society. It should be part of society. So, I will tell my students, keep learning and growing and have self-confidence and have confidence in future. Keep learning and growing to serve people and to serve history and future history.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us, Professor Mahanti. It has been an absolutely honor to engage with you today and hear your invaluable insights on a range of critical topics from political economy of China and India to evolving landscapes of global and social development and human rights. Your research works, your extensive research and dedication to peace, justice, and academic excellence have not only shaped the academic community but have also inspired countless individuals committed to create a better world. Your perspective on grassroots democracy, the challenges of globalization, and the importance of academic collaboration in addressing global issues provide much needed guidance to our scholars. Thank you for sharing your time, knowledge, and vision with us today. We wish you good health, scholarly contributions, and remarkable work in the years to come.